Now we'll see how to clean and sanitize the GL20 sourdough machine. First of all, switch off the machine by taking the main switch on the side to 0. Then open the lid. Inside you will find the scraper with mixer that you can remove just by pulling it upwards. The connection is very simple. The mixer has two elements, the scraper and the mixer. Both parts are dishwashable, but I recommend that you rinse them well to remove any soap residues before returning them to the machine. At this point, you just have to put clean water into the machine. Don't use antibacterial cleansers or detergents because the sourdough is inside, and it needs to be looked after and respected. Now pour the clean water into the machine. You can fill it if there are crusts at the top. Use a sponge, gently clean and scrape the whole machine and all its parts. The machine is rounded and easy to clean. At this point, the machine has been well rinsed. Now place an empty container under the spigot, loosen only the right-hand screw, and, being careful not to spray everything in the vicinity, slowly open the spigot. Dirty water will come out, and possibly some crusts. Empty all the water. Make sure that the machine's been cleaned well by rinsing it with more clean water. After this, dry the machine using a dry cloth. So the machine has now been washed well and dry, and the two elements have been washed in the dishwasher, rinsed well and dried. All that needs to be done now is reinsert them into the machine, being careful to connect the upper part into its connection and insert the mixer into its correct position, with the Teflon scraper against the edge of the machine. After washing and drying the machine well, we can refresh the real sourdough following all its well-described phases. First, switch on the machine using the main switch on its side. And, according to the recipe that you find in the recipe book, weigh the ingredients, which are sourdough, water, and flour. Then put them into the machine. First of all, add the sourdough. Something to pay attention to is the sourdough, which should have been removed previously from the machine and kept in a closed, clean container in the fridge. Remember always to keep it apart for daily refreshment. Immediately after having placed the sourdough in the machine, add the water. Be careful to always follow the sequence of the ingredients, which gives yeast without lumps and prevents clogging the machine. So, first the sourdough, then the water. In this case, we add it all together. Then close the lid and activate the mixer. Use the blue key that you can see at the bottom, taking it from 0 to 1. The machine switches on and starts mixing the product. Okay, we've added the sourdough and the water. We've mixed them together for a few minutes, 2 or 3, so that the sourdough dissolves in the water. And now we're going to add the flour. You will see the word refresh on the bag, and that is the flour you need to use to refresh the sourdough. Be very careful during this phase. Obviously, add only flour. Don't add salt or sugar or other ingredients, just flour, and most importantly, add it slowly to prevent lumps from forming and clogging the machine. Slowly add the flour, just a few spoons at a time. Close the lid, and the machine activates automatically, mixing the product. Remember not to add all the flour together, but slowly to avoid lumps. After letting the machine mix for a few minutes, add more flour. Add the flour 2, 3, or even 4 times, even if it's a lot. Don't add it all at the same time, otherwise the machine will come up against a very heavy block that it won't be able to deal with, and it will probably stop, or lumps will form. Add some more flour. Close the lid, and without having to touch anything else, the machine starts automatically. Once all the flour has been added, carefully and slowly, just switch on the machine and start the cycle by pressing 2 keys. Open the plastic protective lid and press the machine on key. You can see that the display activates and shows the temperature inside the sourdough. The other key to press is the flag. At this point, the machine has started. The fermentation cycle starts, and from here onwards, you don't need to touch any more keys. Close the protective lid and take the mixer to 0. We started the machine so it would run the fermentation cycle. Obviously, you cannot use the sourdough for the next 4 hours because it is in the bacterial reproduction and fermentation phase. You have to wait until the display says 12 degrees. At this point, the yeast has refreshed, ripened, fermented, and you can use it in your dough. So don't use the yeast until it reaches 12 degrees. When the machine reaches 12 degrees, the yeast can be used and added to your dough. To remove the yeast from the machine, place the bucket under the spigot, loosen the right-hand screw only, then lift the mouth gently and slowly. Be careful not to leave crusts in this area. Now close the mouth. Clean the product well with a sponge or cloth. Make sure the mouth is always clean to prevent the formation of crusts, which would make the product drip into the bucket. The machine is on wheels to make cleaning easier. When you use it, use the brakes. With the brakes off, the machine can be moved easily to clean the work area well.